Hi, this is Sally Morgan, physical therapist, craniosacral therapist, and Tellington T-Touch practitioner for animals and people. And this is Tristan, who is a Corgi. He's yawning. And this is an episode of Conversations with a Corgi. And today we're going to talk about a couple of the T-Touch wraps that are used most commonly. And I will show you how to do them on some of my dogs here, my models and my Corgi. And I want to just add to what I said yesterday about the wraps. They can really facilitate amazing transformations in your animals. They can help with the balance, proprioception, overall coordination, and confidence, and their effects are quite long-lasting. So there are many, many reasons to use these wraps with your dog, even if you have a dog like mine who seems fine, but he's not always fine. Sometimes he gets really excited when people come to the door, and he goes berserk when I get out of the car. So to help with those two issues in particular, the wraps have been really, really useful. And I am, just like so many people, I don't always put a wrap on him when I have someone coming to the door, and I really should, because it really helps him calm down. He gets so excited to see people that he's jumping up and down, and he's barking, and if it's one of two people that he really loves, he nips at their pant legs a little bit using his herding skills, and the wraps really help calm him down so that he can wait for them to bend over to see him, because he just likes people so much. So even if you only use wraps a few times with your dog, it can have a lasting effect. Tristan has been a bit naughty when people come to the door for a long time, and so I use the wraps and then he calms down for a while, and then I have to use the wraps again. But he's just so emotionally excited to see people come to our house, and he's very nice and likes to spend time with them, but he gets excited. So I have to do a lot of different things to work with him to calm him down, and sometimes I am guilty, as everyone is, of not doing what I know to help my dog. So the wraps are one thing that if I kept one by the door, and you might do this too, it might help your dog calm down when people come over. And my friend has a dog. She's a new dog owner. She doesn't really know that much about dogs. And for her, this would be super beneficial, because when her husband comes home from work, her dog barks at him from the minute his car is in the driveway until he's in the house for over 15 minutes. And a wrap could help her dog a lot. And she's reluctant to have guests because she's afraid her dog will do that to them and they'll be upset. And it's just a little cockapoo. It's not going to bite anybody, but she's really nervous around people, and so she barks. If an animal feels better in its body, the animal is happier, you're happier, and all of the T-Touch practitioners in the world are happy to help you help your animal feel better. This is what makes us do the work we do, and it's why I'm doing all of these Facebook Lives on T-Touch, because it's so easy to learn, and it's pretty effective, even if you're doing it a little bit incorrectly. And it will help you understand how wonderful this work is, and maybe choose to take a class or a workshop or buy some of the books and videos available, and really benefit you and all of the dogs in your life, and the kitties and the bunnies and the horses. So when you use the wraps, people often want to know how tight it should be. Very different from when you use a wrap for like a sprained ankle. You want, oh, the sun's coming out suddenly. You want the wrap to be providing feedback for your animal, but not providing support. So you don't want it really tight. You want it to allow the body to move as it normally would. I'm just going to move you this way a little bit there, so that I'm now in the dark instead of the bright light. So you want your animal to be able to move normally in the wrap, but you also want it to be snug enough to stay on when your animal moves, and you don't want it stretched out all the way when you put it on him. You want your animal to be comfortable in it. You can leave it on for around 20 minutes. That's usually what we do, but a lot of animals in the beginning don't like it that much, and they want to take it off, including humans. If you start using the wrap on yourself, some people only need it for 5-10 minutes. I had a human come with their dog a few weeks ago, and I was showing her how the wraps work, and she chose to wear the wrap for an hour. She thought it really helped her back pain. So, you know, humans can tell us when they've had enough of the wrap or when they want more, but generally with dogs, we don't keep it on them very long. After about 20 minutes, the nervous system does what we call habituation, and it gets used to having the wrap on, and then it's no longer paying attention to the feedback the wrap is giving. Is that a tick or a scab? He has a scab on his ear. So after 20 minutes, they might not be as effective as they were in the beginning in terms of re-educating the nervous system, but they're still helping your dog. We also encourage, once you put the wrap on, to have your dog move a little bit in a way that some people have described as mindfully. I prefer to say carefully, because you don't want your dog to run and play and chase balls in it. You want them to walk around and see what it feels like and pause, like ask your dog to walk 2 or 3 steps and stop, and then maybe have your dog walk in a circle and stop, and then walk the other way in a circle. Maybe sit down and stand up, and just have them see the kinds of information they're getting from the wrap into their body when they're moving in new ways. And if you have a confidence course, a great thing is to put the wrap on your dog and put him in the confidence course. Walking over poles on the ground or even different surfaces can make a really big difference to your dog when he's in a wrap. So ideally, that's what I would be doing. The weather is starting to get better, and I will have some people here. I think I might just do one of these sessions a little later when I have a client dog here or something, so that you can see how we use the confidence course. When your dog is in the wrap, pay attention to how they're acting, their breathing, and also their posture, because that'll show you, A, how the wrap is working, and B, if your dog is getting nervous or uncomfortable and what you need to do. If your dog is calm, you'll notice that the wrap is working well. He may seem kind of pensive in a way and introspective. That's a sign that the wrap is doing what it's supposed to. If your dog is frozen and not moving and not breathing and really reluctant to move and have to jump up and leap away from the wrap, you might want to take it off and retry it in a few minutes, or try a different configuration with the wrap. Maybe just put it around one part of him, or you could even loosen the kind of wrap that you have on him in the first place. So wraps have many, many benefits. There are different points of view about how the wraps work. It can be, as I mentioned yesterday, that Temple Grandin idea of a hug of security. And it also seems to really improve their proprioception, their sense of their body in space, because now all of their corners are surrounded by a wrap, so they can feel where they are in space. I can't believe how much the sun is coming out just since I started talking. So that's some of the reasons why we think the wraps work well. And today I want to show you a quarter wrap. We'll start with Jack because he volunteered to take his harness off to do this. So you can put the wrap on a couple of different ways. We're going to use a blue one on him because it's easy to see. The quarter wrap is only twice around the dog. It's the easiest wrap for the dog to accept usually, and so it's a good one to start with. It's really good for anxious dogs or really active dogs or dogs that really just can't sit still. And this is one of the ones I use on Tristan when I have people coming to the door and he's kind of going berserk, especially if I remember to put the wrap on at the last minute and I can chase him down and get this on him pretty quickly. So you want to just put the wrap around the dog's neck and have a short end and a long end. This is a 2-inch wrap because I have little dogs, but I also use 3-inch wraps on them. The second piece comes about to the dog's hip. So you circle that one around the chest and put the other end under his middle. And that's it. And you can either Velcro this or tie it or pin it. The new wraps, well, actually these wraps are from Jamie, and she dyed them and put Velcros on them, and they work really well. So I'm just going to put this around him twice here just so I can secure it. Tristan's walking on a Velcro over there and he's feeling a little nervous about it, aren't you, Tristan? So it just goes, whoops, I have an extra thing here that you can see. The wrap was too long, so I just put it around him an extra time. But this is the most basic quarter wrap. It goes around the dog's chest and around the dog's middle, and then you secure the wrap back here. Now, important to note that you do not secure the wrap right on the middle of the spine. You put it off to the side, and you can use Velcro, you can tie knots, and one of the things that we recommend are these baby safety pins. They're super good. These I've actually painted. There's like little flowers on it. That's A, so I don't lose it, and B, so it's cute. And on the other side it has sparkles because, again, T-Touch is magic and sparkles are magic. So if Jack were to be wearing this for a little while, I would just pin this down here to secure it. And then I could take him for a walk and see how that's not on the top of his spine. And ask him to sit and come and follow me around a little bit and see how he does with the wrap. So that is the quarter wrap. Let's try one on Tristan. Now, as I said, I really encourage you to ask your dog what color wrap he'd like to try. I have green, raspberry, purple, and saffron. Which one you want, Biss? Raspberry? I can't. Purple? Yellow? Which one? He did not like the green one. Pick again. He's picking raspberry. See, it's pretty simple. Just see what your dog wants. He is so hairy today. Really, the shedding has gotten much worse. So we're going around the front, and I just bring this other piece down. I don't know if you can see. Turn sideways, honey. Come here, Biss. Stand up. There you go. Okay, so, oh, that raspberry on that orange Corgi. So I just have it about by his hip. I come around his chest. Whoa, come back, you. And go around his middle. And then I just secure it. I'm going to do it on this side with a safety pin. Happen to have one I painted with a purple paw print, which will look splendid with his raspberry wrap. And I don't know if you can see, but on my side I have put the safety pin in so it's on his tummy and not down up on his spine here. And then you just need to adjust it and make sure it's okay on your dog. I could have put this one actually a little snugger. I had it back too far here. And in fact, if he were to walk around a lot, it might be too loose and come off of him. But you can see it just goes around his chest and around his middle. The sun is getting really bright. Usually I have the curtains drawn for sunny days like this. So I'm just going to leave this on him for a minute. If your dog is really active, you can just take the wrap and open it and ask the dog to walk over it with his front legs. This Corgi is happy to do that. And then quickly pull it up, leave a long end, and then as he's moving, put it around the front end. And then you have him in that quarter wrap around his front and his middle. So if your dog is moving, again, I'll say that because it's a little complicated. Tristan thinks he's a better model than British Corgi. You have your dog walk over the front end of it. So now you have it under his tummy. You don't have to reach under there. Bring up one end that's long enough to go around his chest and just secure it on the top. And you can kind of walk along with him as you're securing this. If this were really my dog I was working with, I might just take it, and this is actually a great way to do this, to have an easily adjustable wrap. Just tie a little bow there. And there he is, wrapped in a quarter wrap. What do you think, Tris? If this is too much for your dog and he's having a hard time adjusting to even this much of a wrap, a couple of things you can do is put the dog in the Thunder shirt first, or in a little kid t-shirt, or if you have a little dog sweater. And then you have a layer between your dog and the wrap so that it's not as intense. And a lot of dogs are totally fine having a layer between themselves and the wrap. But that's pretty rare. Most dogs really are okay with just this kind of wrap Tristan has on right now. I'm so worried about ticks. They've been so bad. I found a dead one the other day, stuck to him. Okay, so here is the quarter wrap. Tristan's modeling it. He's moving around a little bit. Are you cute in raspberry? He hardly ever picks the raspberry one. All right, let's go back over here, Biss, and we'll move on to the next wrap. So the next wrap I'm going to show you today, and some of the more complicated ones we'll save for another day. But today I'm going to just show you these two because it's a lot to learn this and try to remember it. It seems clear as, you know, water when you're doing it the first time, but when you start to do 3 in a row, you're like, oh my gosh, where am I going? So I'm just going to show you these 2 today. So the quarter wrap covers a quarter of the dog, basically. And now I'm going to show you a half wrap, which is just a little bit more than the quarter wrap. And I'll show you on this Corgi first because his wrap is the easiest one to redo. So it's the same as what we did with the other wrap. You start with it around the dog's chest and you bring up a short side and a long side. And then you take the middle around as you would for the quarter wrap. So this is what we have for the quarter wrap. And then you do one more around his hind end. And then you secure it. It's really hard to see the cross under here. So here he is. He's got a cross on his back with another one that goes around the back end. And it's been sliding a lot. It's not really very secure. But it's basically like the quarter wrap with another one around your dog. So this will be easier to see on a bigger dog. We'll take Jack here next. Have to undo his pin and his wrap here so it will work. Now, when you do this one, you just make the front, the extra piece here that goes towards their hip a little bit longer because you're going to cross it on the top and then cross it on the bottom and then bring it up and secure it. We're going to Velcro him because we have Velcro and it works pretty well. So you see he's got an X on his tummy. I would straighten that out a little bit so it's really in the middle. He's got an X on the top, and then it just comes around his buns in between his spots. And that is the half wrap. And this we use a lot. For your average dog, this is going to be a fine introductory wrap, and it's pretty easy to get on when your dog is moving. It sometimes can be a little confusing to get the X underneath because you've done the other wrap and you have a short end. You just need that short end to be a little bit longer to do this. Tristan, you're going to have to use yellow or green because, well, we can probably use this one. I don't know. You're pretty little. And again, most of these, for a dog my size, certainly, you can use one wrap. If you have a bigger dog, like a German Shepherd, you might need to tie 2 wraps together to start this. So stand up, hon. So we put the wrap around his chest, and the long end is now got to be longer than to reach his hip. And then go around the front, around the middle of the dog, cross them under his tummy. Make sure you're clear of any of his business back there. Nobody wants to have the discomfort of their wiener being trapped in a wrap. And really on dogs like Corgis and Dachshunds and Basset Hounds, that area can be pretty far forward from where you think it is. So make sure you check that. So this is fitting him really well. It's nicely snug. Let's just see if you can see him better. And so here he is wearing his half wrap. It goes around the front, around the middle, crisscrosses underneath, and comes up here. And this is cool because you can adjust this. You can put it forward to this part of their body, which is what we often do. And that actually works really well to give them feedback in their hind end. Even though the wrap isn't on their hind end, we've seen a huge improvement in connection from front to back with this type of wrap. And then also to prepare your dog for some of the more complicated wraps that cover more of their body, you can pull this back a little bit after they're used to it and pull it back a little bit until it's really right back on their hips and they're walking around with it. And that's going to help them get ready for some of the wraps that do cover their hips and around their hindquarters. Now, the way I have it right now, if he had a tail, this would be a good way to prepare your dog for having the wrap around his legs. It can tend to fall down when you do it this way, so I wouldn't have him walk around too much with it that far back. But for your average dog, just putting it around the middle with a crisscross here and a crisscross here, and it velcroed on the top. And if you don't have Velcro, again, you could use these baby pins. Just make sure. And a regular safety pin isn't as good because it's not safe. If your dog is moving, that it actually might come unpinned and poke him, and we don't want that. So you can tie it in a knot, or you can get these baby pins. And again, make sure that the X crosses not on his spinal column, as well as your safety pin not on the spinal column. Tristan, we're going to show off here so you can see. This is how it looks from his back. This little raspberry wrap today with a cross here. Notice that's not directly on his spine, nor is the pin. It's over on this side. And what I like to do sometimes, just to keep your dog balanced, is to have the X a little bit to one side and the pin a little bit to the other side. We'll just flip you back around, Tris. So we use the half body wrap quite a lot. It's one of our most common wraps, and it's really good, as I said, to start a lot of dogs with this. You don't have to go to the quarter wrap right away to start. And we often do use these safety pins, and they're really fun to, I have them in some different colors, and I use nail polish to paint little pictures on them. And usually, like I said, this is a really good wrap for shy or nervous dogs. If you've got a reactive dog, the quarter wrap sometimes is better. But for a shy or nervous dog, or a dog that's afraid of other dogs, putting them in this half wrap can be super, super useful. And it does prepare them for the wraps that are going to go around their hindquarters. And as your dog adjusts, as I said, you can move the hind end further and further back to help your dog prepare for the full body wrap. And we will talk more about some of these more complicated wraps tomorrow. And again, with this wrap as well as the quarter wrap, really all of our wraps, but you wouldn't be using the next few with this situation. You can use a thunder shirt or a t-shirt on your dog under the wrap, or even his little coat, just to give him a little more distance between the pressure of the wrap and his body if you've got a dog that really has a hard time accepting the wrap. Tristan's yawning to show you he's getting more relaxed in his little half wrap. You look cute in raspberry. Good choice today. So those are two of the T-Touch wraps that we use. Don't jump off the kitchen table, honey. It is a long way down for a short dog that we use with our dogs. Now you can use these wraps also on kitties and on bunnies. And as I mentioned yesterday, if you have a cat or a bunny that you're going to prepare to walk on a harness, this is a great approach to use to help them get used to feelings of things on their body. They can hop around with it. I mean, I used to put the harness on my bunnies and let them hop around the living room, and sometimes the first time they were kind of traumatized. Their little eyes would go out and they'd be panting because they were pretty stressed, and they have to catch the rabbit when they're stressed and then try to take that off. I know so many more tools now that it would be a lot easier for my bunnies, and I did bribe them with their favorite foods to trot around the living room in their harnesses to train them. But this is a good type of thing to do with your cat or your bunny to help prepare them for wearing the harness. And it's pretty easy. You can use either this as a 2-inch wrap, and they do make these 1-inch wraps. Unless your animal is really small, these wraps can feel a lot more compressive than they actually are, just because it's so concentrated. So I use these for some work on a small dog's head, but typically the 2-inch wrap is what I would use on a bunny or a kitty. And I had little miniature bunnies, so even for them I would recommend this size wrap here, the 2-inch. And you can just lay it over them to start them getting used to it, and you can put it around their chest as they're hopping or walking your kitty around the living room. And then gradually, as they calm down and get used to it and are having fun, you can wrap it around their middle and do the first wrap that I showed you, which was the quarter wrap, which is just around the neck and around the middle. And then you can gradually work it into the half wrap which goes around the back part of the dog as well, or your kitty or your bunny, and then gradually use the harness. You might even be able to put the wrap on and put the harness over it, or the other way around as your animal gets used to it. And usually cats and bunnies I've worked with, I haven't had very many that were too worried about a harness. Sometimes with a rabbit, it can be, if they're not used to being touched at all, the harness can be kind of a big step for them. But most of my bunnies, after I've had them, have been used to being touched. So, hi Lisa. Look, Lisa's saying hi to you on the TV, Biss. Oh, she's in Seattle. So, and it must be really early in Seattle. Why aren't you sleeping? Anyway, so these are a couple of the wraps you can use, and as we continue over the next few days of Conversations with a Corgi, I'll show you a few more of the wraps that we can use on dogs and on horses and on people. So this is Sally Morgan for Conversations with a Corgi. Oh look, Linda's saying hello too. She says, I don't remember her. I'm little. I was a baby when I met Linda. So try these wraps with your dog, and definitely, if you can't get the official Ace wrap, the dollar store ones are a good place to start. They just don't wear very well for all of the washing and stretching that they would use, for somebody like me who's using them quite a bit with a lot of different animals. And you can dye them, and if you want to start a little business dyeing them for your friends and for T-Touch people, there are a lot of people that are looking for dyed wraps, and I'm one of them. Can never have enough beautiful colors of wraps. So I will see you tomorrow morning at 8:20 for another episode of Conversations with a Corgi. And this is Tristan and I, with Tristan wrapped up, saying, have a great day. We are going to go out and enjoy the sun today because it's been raining here a lot. And I have a pretty busy day. I have a couple of different dog clients coming. Some of them are very interesting. And I'm going to see a horse today. So I will tell you more about them over the next few days. So have a great day, everybody, from wherever you are. And Tristan and I say, get yourself some wraps. Bye-bye.